Hello, hon. How are you? That's good. No, no, okay. Yep, it must be good. Ah, dang on it. Dang on. You're recording? Okay. Well, then I'll turn my TV off so you don't hear the background. Yep. I guess I'll get up and turn the light on so it's in color. Hang on. Uh, yeah, I saw that. I saw that on YouTube. Yeah, I saw it. Uh, it finally cooled off outside. It's like in the 50s right now. It's let me see. It's 55 degrees outside. So it finally cooled off. Yeah, it's 55 degrees outside right now. Oh yeah, that's nice. Yep. Because I opened up the window in my bedroom area and I opened it about that far just to get some breeze blowing through and stuff. Yep, yep. It was nice. You will eventually. You will. Just gotta just gotta get everything taken care of first, but eventually you'll be here. Yep. Yeah, you have all the seasons, but you don't have the extreme that we have here during our seasons. Like in the wintertime, yeah, you have a wintertime there, but it's not like the wintertime here. Your wintertime is still warm, but here, yeah, you'll you'll know the difference of the different seasons and stuff. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Yeah, you'll see what the different weather looks like in the different seasons. Pardon? Yeah, spring, summer, fall, and winter. Yeah, you'll like it here. Yeah, yeah. Now, like all your trees and stuff in the fall, they're like all the leaves turn color and fall off of the trees and stuff. No, there where you're at in the fall, do like all the leaves on the trees change color and then fall off of the trees? because here that happens in the fall. All the leaves on the trees, they change color, and then they eventually fall off of the trees. They don't fall off of the trees there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 You'll definitely know the different seasons here because you'll be able to tell like when it's a certain season as to what the air is like and the temperature and because even in the spring it's not cold like the winter, but you go from winter into spring, and so it's in the first part of when spring starts. It's still chilly. It's not cold like winter, but it's still chilly in the air at the beginning of the springtime. So so yeah, you'll definitely be able to tell that when the season starts and stuff because of the way because of like the different temperatures and stuff. In the fall, you'll be able to know it's fall because all the leaves will be turning really nice colors and everything, and then they'll eventually fall off of the trees. Yeah, when it's fall here, when it's when it's fall season, is when all the leaves on the trees, turn all these really nice, beautiful colors, and then eventually they'll fall off of the trees. So, yep, you'll be able to tell the difference. Where what? Well, I mean, we have different. We have maple, oak, bark, redwood. We just have many different varieties of trees. Of course, I mean, then of course you have the evergreen trees, which that's why they're called evergreen because they never turn anything, but they stay green year round. So, and that's usually like people that put up live Christmas trees. They're evergreens, and so yeah, they never, unless they're dying or whatever, they never change colors. Evergreens, they just stay green forever, unless they're dying or something. Which eventually they will. They won't last forever. I mean, eventually evergreens even just die of old age after they've been in the ground for who knows how long. They eventually die and turn color, turn brown or whatever. But for the most part, evergreens just stay green. It seems like they just stay green forever. But their needles and stuff on their on the branches, they never change colors. So what's your pardon? Go ahead. There's a big what tree? Well, yeah, in California they have these huge. uh, trees out, and it's a state park out in California somewhere. They have these trees that are like you can have, like at the base of the trunk and stuff. You're right, right at the ground level. Um, they're so big around that 30 or 40 people standing around it holding hands would still not go all the way around the trunk of the tree because it's so huge. Yeah, that's how big these trees are in California. And yeah, 30 people would not even be able to fit around it because it's so huge. There's one that that they have. They're called. The name of them is redwood, and there's one where there's actually been a. It's like a small tunnel cut into it where cars can drive right through the tree. They cut like an opening and stuff at ground level, up so high and stuff, like in an arch, and then cars can drive right through the middle, right through the tree and stuff. Oh yeah, yeah. The redwoods out in California are huge. They are really, really big, and they get. I think the oldest one that they have is like I don't know. I don't know how many feet tall. 80, 90, 100 feet tall or whatever. I mean, it is huge. So, so yeah, it's a state park. It's out there in California. I've never been to it, but it's out in California somewhere. Well, it might be. I don't know. All I know is that California is not a cheap state to live in. It costs a lot of money to live in California. Like where I live, my rent is $467 a month. Out there for like an apartment approximately the same size is probably $600 to $700. So to live in California is very expensive. So I mean, I have no desire to live there. I mean, I wouldn't be able to afford it anyway. Oh yeah, yep, it's very expensive to live in California. Even if you own a home, I mean, unless you own, outright own the home, if you're, paying a, mortgage payment to the bank or whatever, every month and stuff. I mean, even if you're not, if you own the house outright, where you don't have to pay, monthly mortgage payments, you still got to pay your property taxes because, it's, just something that's required. You got to pay property taxes, then your utilities, and then the upkeep on the house. And, so yeah, I mean, I have no desire to live out there, out in California. It's just way too expensive. Huh? Well, a lot of them that live in California are, movie stars and very rich people, and yeah, I mean, a lot of celebrities and movie stars and musicians and whatever live out in California. because around the LA area, you have Hollywood and all that stuff where they make all, where all kinds of movies and TV shows and everything are made. And so, yeah, yeah, yeah. Nope, I am perfectly happy right where I'm at. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I just live a basic normal life. I don't own expensive stuff, and I don't want to own expensive stuff. I'm happy with everything that I've got. You know, I have, I have clothes, I have food, I have a TV. I have the basic, basic stuff. I don't need all the extras. I don't need a really nice, fancy, car or motorcycle or anything like that. I'm content with what I got. It's not that I don't wish that I had had the money to afford a home, but I know that I probably never will actually own a home where it's outright not owned by say me and the bank. It was that was if it was like mine and I wasn't having to pay mortgage rent or mortgage payments or anything like that. Yeah, that would be nice, but I know that'll probably never happen. So I just I just live a normal life, normal down to earth life. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. And well, there's part of California, there's a place called Silicon Valley, which where they make a lot of stuff for computers, like computer chips, and and all kinds of stuff for like that. And so you know, people that work for places like that, they make a lot of money, even though it's not like movie stars or celebrities or singers or whatever. It's just that where they work in Silicon Valley is a very you know upscale place to work and stuff. It's not like working at a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Taco Bell or anything like that. So yeah, no, you need to quit eating chicken. You'll never quit eating chicken. You'll eat chicken forever. Uh huh. Eventually, you'll start flopping your wings, just like a chicken. Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't think you're gonna make it. Not doing that. I don't think you're gonna make it here. Uh-huh. You can dream about flying all you want, but you're not gonna make it here just by dreaming. No, it ain't gonna happen. It's a dream. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you are, dreaming again. Or maybe if you run fast enough, you can run across the water. You can be like the Flash. Yeah, just like you snap your fingers and you're across the water into California, just like that. Uh huh. Well, see, I would if I could be with anybody which is like fantasy character or whatever, it would be like Aquaman. And Aquaman swims under the ocean with all the fish and stuff. So that's how he lives. It's under the water. That's what Aquaman does. Aquaman is what? Yeah. Well, I mean, they've had different people playing the character of Aquaman. It ain't been the same person, every single time. They just, they're used to being old cartoon, The Adventures of Aquaman. Just an animated cartoon show, and then they made movies, about Aquaman, and it's just, you know, it's not real. It's just, fantasy. Because that's all movies are. Is some are based on true stories, but they're all just, you know, no movie is real life. Some movies are based on real life events, but yeah, yeah. Oh man, I've been up since I went to bed at 10 minutes after 9 last night, and because you were, at 9 o'clock, I turned your camera on and stuff, and you were still asleep. So about 10 minutes after 9, that's when I shut everything down and got in bed, and I went to sleep. I woke up one time, and it was I think it was like 2:30. So I slept from I figure by the time I actually fell asleep, it was about 9:30. So from 9:30 to 2:30, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. So that was 5 hours. And then I got in my chair and went back to sleep, after, and stuff. So probably about 15, maybe 10 minutes till 3, probably fell back asleep. And I woke up. The next time I woke up, and I, reached over and I moved my phone, just turned the time on and stuff, and it was 4:22. So I said, "Oh man, I'm gonna go ahead and get up." So I just I just turned the TV on, was watching TV and stuff, and I sometime after 4:30, I turned your camera on and you weren't there, so I figured, oh well, you're out. You were either at the CR, or you were out walking, or or whatever and stuff. Because you weren't in your room, so I figured, well, he's doing whatever. So, so I just shut shut your shut your camera down, and I just continued watching TV. And I had it on when you called, and so then I turned it off because I didn't want to, didn't want the background music, not music, but background people talking and stuff while we're trying to talk. So when you called, then I shut my TV off. That way I won't, constantly be like, yep, okay, I hear you, what you're saying. Trying to watch TV while I'm talking to you. So I just turned the TV off. Well, usually taxes, like what they call property taxes, um, because even though you own the land, unless you built your own house or cabin or whatever, like up in the mountains or out in the woods or whatever and stuff. But you see, if you're living in, like, if you have a house and you're inside, city limits somewhere, then even though you own the house, you still got to pay property taxes on the property. So, and usually that's like, usually people pay their property taxes. Some people pay it every 6 months, and then some people just pay it once a year. So, it just depends on how much money they got as to whether they want to pay it every 6 months or every year. Because, some people may have a good enough job where they can pay their taxes once a year and they'll have the money to cover it. And then some people, just pay it every 6 months. I don't know whether you can pay it like month to month to month. I don't know if you can do that or not, because I've never owned a home, so I have no idea how all that property tax works. So like where my grandma lived down in Springfield, Ohio, um, I used to own the house that she lived in at the time. I used to own it. She sold it to me for $1 because, wasn't like she was making monthly mortgage payments to the bank or anything like that. And she just couldn't afford the property taxes. So she sold the house to me for $1. And then, so it was legal, the title was put into my name, and then of course, then I was responsible for paying the taxes every year. Well, then that got to be too much for even for me, so I sold it to my mom, which was because that was my grandma's daughter, my mom. So I sold it to her for $1, and then she took over paying the property taxes and stuff. And but even that didn't work out for even for mom because she wasn't working at the time. She was on Social Security when she bought the house from me, and so but that house where my grandma lived, it's not even there anymore. It's just the county, or the city or county or whatever down in Springfield. Um, they came in and they just tore the house and the garage down and everything because you couldn't even see it. It was just, covered in weeds. All you could see was like the roof of like the house and the garage. The weeds were so high that you couldn't even really see the house. So the city or county or whoever, they came in and they just demolished everything and just flattened the ground down and and just you know put planted grass seed and everything, and that's what's there now. It's just an empty area where the house used to sit. But oh yeah, the house has been gone for years. Yeah, I don't know whether it was the city of Springfield or the county of Clark County down there. I'm not sure who it was, whether it was the city or the county. They just came in and tore the house down, the house and the garage, and just leveled the ground. Just flattened the ground out and everything, and just planted grass seed and stuff. And it's just a big empty spot where the house used to sit at. So, but the people that owned it, my mom, she sold it to somebody, and they paid mom, everything that she sold it to them on what was called land contract, which they paid mom each month, and so mom would use it. The trailer that my mom was living in at the time, after she had sold it to this other couple, they they paid mom, everything, that was, for the land contract, everything. So they owned the house, outright. And but then I don't know whether they just decided they wanted to move somewhere else or whatever, but it just got abandoned. And one time I was down, around that area, and I drove out by it, and that's when I seen it was just, a bunch of weeds. The weeds had overtaken everything. You could barely see the house or the garage because the weeds were so high. Then eventually, like I said, either the city or the county just came in and tore everything down and leveled the ground. So, oh no, no, I've never, test drove any kind of other car. No. Now I have in the past, I have rented a car to, like I think actually, what was it? Oh, I went down and seen my brother Ken in Georgia one time, and I wanted something that would be reliable that would get me down there and back with no problem. So I rented a car and drove down there and stuff. I was down there for like a week. So I rented a car and drove down and drove back. And it was a nice car. Actually, the year that I rented it, it was that year of a car. I forget. It was a few years ago and stuff. Back in the 1990s sometime because, Kim passed away in 2020. So, so it was sometime, in the 1990s when I rented the car and drove down. I can't remember. Just to say if it was in 1997. Yeah. Is that your neighbor that's playing something so loud? Is that your neighbor that I can hear? Oh, it's your sister? Oh, okay, her son. Okay. See, when you're here, you will never, you won't have to listen to that because, you know, I never hear anybody unless they're like outside talking during the daytime, but, you know, never hear anybody talking next door or, you know, or music playing or nothing. You won't have to worry about that here. It's so nice and quiet. Oh yeah. Yep. Yep. It is. Yep. Yep. That's pretty much all I do is either work or like today. I'm off today. It's Monday and Friday. So other than that, I work, and then the rest of the day I just, you know, the days I work, then I just come home and sit and do nothing. Because usually I'm so I'm tired, my legs are so sore from standing for hours and hours and hours that, you know, I just sit down in my chair so I can relax because, you know, I'm so sore. Yeah, man, yeah. So, you know, I just, you know, like I don't know what the temperature. Let's see here, what the temperature is supposed to be today. It's 54 right now. Let me see, where's the weather? There it is. Today, today is supposed to get up to 80 degrees. So that's a big change from the 95 degrees. So it's supposed to get up to 80 today, and oh, let's see, no rain, no rain, you know, forecast until like late Tuesday or into Wednesday before we have the next chance of rain. So today is to be, you know, well, it says partly sunny, so that there'll be sun now and then, and there'll be clouds and stuff. So 80 degrees today won't be that bad at all. But at least we got rid. At least we won't have the humidity, the high humidity and stuff right now. So that's over with. Because, you know, when it was like 94, 95 degrees, and the humidity was like way up there, it felt, you know, that 95 degrees felt like 110 degrees because of the humidity. But hopefully that's done. You know, I mean, I'm sure we're still going to have some 90-degree days because, you know, like July and August are always the hottest, you know, 2 months of the summer. So I'm sure we'll still have some 90-degree days as long as that humidity's not really bad. It's then that 90 degrees won't be bad at all. But we'll just have to wait and see. Huh? Yeah, 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 yeah. I look forward to fall and winter. I mean, because when the winter time that we don't have these really hot, muggy days and stuff in the winter time. But then after 2 or 3 weeks of the really cold weather and and the snow and everything, then everybody's wishing, okay, well, winter's okay. We had cold spells and stuff, so you know winter can be over now. It can get warm and stay warm now. But then when it gets hot, we wish it was winter time, so we don't have to feel all that heat and humidity. Um, then when it gets winter time, after a couple, 2, 3 weeks, then we want it to be warm again. So it's like we can't make up our minds if we want it to be hot or cold. So, but you know, we can have snow one day a year on Christmas Day, and then the snow can disappear. As long as you have snow on Christmas Day, you know, that's all. That's all the snow I really need is for that one day. But I know that ain't going to happen. We'll have snow for for a number of weeks in a row. Sometimes we don't even have any snow on Christmas Day. There have been times when it's been like mid to upper 50s on Christmas Day, you know, and no snow, and it's like, is this Christmas? This feels like springtime with temperatures in the 50 on Christmas Day. That doesn't seem normal, but a lot of that has to do with climate change. Yeah, climate change, it really affects, you know, the seasons and stuff, and the water levels and the temperatures, and everything. A lot of it has to do with climate change. So, yeah, climate change is not good. Yep, the people and the emissions off of cars, and then there's also factories, certain factories and businesses and stuff that emit, stuff into the air, you know, that all affects climate change. Yeah, yeah, it's just like Donald Trump, he doesn't think anything that's happening around the world has anything to do with climate change. He thinks that and it's all just part of life. It's natural. It's going to happen. And climate change is happening and affecting everything because of people and factories and cars, and that's what's affecting climate change, is all that put together. And Trump, he doesn't believe in climate change. He doesn't think that anything that's going on in the world is affecting climate. That he just thinks that it's just something that naturally happens, and he is so wrong. That's why I don't like the guy. He's for being our president and being, the leader of the free world, the United States, a free country, he sure likes to get us involved in a lot of stuff that we don't need to be involved in. He he's he just he's not a good president, plain and simple. But there's a lot of people believe in him, and they'll Trump they'll back him no matter what he says or does. But and a lot of his party, the Republican Party, they will not they will not go against him because they're afraid of the consequences of you know you know the people not electing somebody that's in the Republican Party back into Congress or Senate or House or whatever and stuff. So they're afraid to speak up against Trump because they're afraid of what their country can, people that voted for them to get into office won't vote for him again. So they're just afraid to speak up, even though they know a lot of what Trump's doing is wrong. They're just afraid that the people elect him in the office is not going to like him anymore. So, so his party just won't speak up against him. The Democrats do because they're Trump's a Republican, but the Democrats they speak up against him all the time. What about voting? Yeah. Now, I have never voted. I have never ever once voted, and I have no desire to vote because I don't follow politics, like on a daily basis. If I happen to see something that's on TV, and like sometimes like if if I'm watching something like one of the major networks like CBS or NBC or ABC or Fox, whatever the major networks, if he happens to, if he's going to be doing a speech or something, prime time around 8 o'clock at night or whatever stuff, and I don't watch it. I'll either turn the TV off or I'll change the channel to and just watch a movie or whatever on something else. I won't listen to him because I don't follow politics on a daily basis. I hear stuff or I read stuff on the phone or I because there's so much going on in the world that I just don't care about. So I just don't follow politics. That's why I've never once voted. I've never even registered to vote. Huh? Nope. I have never voted one time. Never. And they say that every vote counts. Yeah, every vote, when you vote, every vote does count, whether it's for who you vote for or who you vote against, every vote counts, but my one vote is not going to change anything. So I have no desire to register to vote or to vote, either one. It's just something I don't care to do. I mean, if I follow politics on a daily basis, office and listen to everything, the pros and cons of every individual person running for this office, that office, whatever it is, then I would probably vote. But I don't follow it. I don't follow politics. So 3 times you have? Yeah. Yep. I just have no desire to. I mean, I could even do the absentee ballots, or I could vote in, you know, the different places they have like these drop off boxes where you can put your, like if you're mailing a letter, you open up the flap, put your vote in and stuff, and then people come around periodically and unlock it and take all the votes, the ballots out of this box and count them and stuff. That, yep, she's getting tired. It's hot. Yeah, yeah. Of course, all that does really, if it's real hot, all that does is just blow the hot air around. Yeah, yeah. Was one job I had in Michigan. Um, an hour after you eat, then you go to sleep. That's not good. Uh huh. You need to either exercise or stop eating right before you go to bed. Right before you go to sleep. You need to stop eating and then going to sleep. No, you need to stop eating a big meal before you go to sleep, whether it's fried chicken or whether it's rice or whether it's corn or whether it's fish. You know, you need to stop eating before you go to sleep. Yeah, yeah. But you'll buy two or three pieces of chicken and make rice, and you'll sit there and eat all the chicken, or or maybe a little bit, part of the rice, and then 15 or 30 minutes after you're done eating, you'll lay down to go to sleep. Uh huh. Because all those calories and stuff that you just ate, you're not burning them off. You're just letting them sit inside your body, and you know, because you're not exercising after you eat. And but but the thing is not to eat and then go to sleep. You need to avoid that. Within Usually within 2 or 3 hours of me actually going to sleep for the night, I don't eat anything. I may drink water, or I got iced tea or I got soda. I may drink something before I go to sleep, but I'm not eating for like 2 to 3 hours before I go to sleep. Uh huh. Yep. As much as what I should. Yeah. Now, like my air fryer that I got, I can take. I've got a metal rack that I can put inside of it and put that in with the potatoes and wrap it up in foil and bake it in the oven. So yeah, yep. I do that every now and then. I'll make baked potato and onions. So yeah. Oh yeah. Sometimes I'll even bake a potato in the microwave. I'll take a pan, or not a pan, but like a plate or whatever, put a little bit of water on the plate, not much, just a little bit, and I'll take the potatoes and I'll wrap them in, like a bag or whatever, and cook them in the microwave, and it doesn't take very long to cook them in the microwave. Just a little tiny bit of water, and I put them inside a plastic bag, wrap them up, and cook them in the microwave, and they cook real fast. Oh yeah, and the thing is that don't have to turn the oven on and make it even hotter in my apartment. So it's easier to cook them in the microwave. So yep, yeah. Oh, I'll cook. I'll cook stuff for you when you get here and stuff. And actually, even while I'm there, like when we're at the hotel and stuff, I'll what I can I'll cook for you. Even there, because usually the most hotels, they have like a small little microwave, in the room and stuff. So I will cook what I can for you while I'm there. Yep. Now, are you still recording right now, or did you stop, or it's still recording? Okay. I wanted to ask before I said anything, so I just wanted to make sure that if you were recording, I didn't say or anything I shouldn't say. So, of course, you can always edit it out. So, because I know you were on chat and stuff on your other phone, so I didn't know if you had started recording again or not. Because I know you had stopped it to get on the chat GPT, but I didn't know whether you had went back to recording. I just wanted to make sure before I said something I shouldn't say. Yeah. Mm. And hopefully I'll get, that letter that I'm waiting to get from the State Department, telling whatever, what other documentation or whatever that they need. Hopefully I can get that resolved so that I don't have to change my, you know, time that I was going to take off so I could come there and stuff. So, I sent you, the screenshot of what they had, of the email that they had sent to me, but they, because the thing, the email I got from them said that we sent you a letter slash and or email. Well, I never got an email stating what they needed, so I'm just waiting to get the letter so I know what additional information they need, so I can get whatever they need to them as quick as possible, so that they can continue processing my passport, so they can get it sent out to me. So hoping it's something very simple and easy that I can get to them right away, so they can continue processing my passport and get that to me so I can get what I need to get done, because I need my passport to get my, new ID, like my driver's license that it'll have the little star on it that will allow me to fly because I can't fly without that. Even if I have my passport, I still can't fly without that official government ID. So I need my passport so I can get that. And I don't want to book my flight until I know that I have my passport. So, so I'm just waiting till I get that letter from them stating what additional information they need. Yeah, I mean, you know, and when I turned all the my application in at the post office, and of course then they mailed it, to the State Department to process my passport. Then I paid the extra money for the expedited, for them to expedite it, the passport to me, and they estimated 2 to 3 weeks. Well, it's been come Friday will be 3 weeks since I, you know, turned it in at the post office for them to mail it. And they said I should have it, my passport, in 2 to 3 weeks. But, right now, everything's on hold until I find out what additional information they need. And of course, they mailed that letter to me last Wednesday, so this Wednesday will be a week. And so it would be nice if today or tomorrow that I would get that letter in the mail. Then I can, you know, see what additional information they need so I can get that sent out to them. So we'll see. Just waiting on that letter. Pardon? Well, this coming Friday will be 3 weeks since I, you know, mailed the stuff out at the post office for them to, send it, to the State Department that does my passport. So, I spent all this money, like, and I spent extra money for them to expedite it, the passport to me, and I had to send the State Department $213 check. That was their processing fee, and they've already cashed that check and got paid, the $213, their fee to do my passport, but yet, still waiting on my passport. But yet they got their money to process it, and they cashed the check and got their money. It was taken out of my checking account. So, you know, they get their money, but they're in no big old hurry to send me my passport. Like I said, last Wednesday, I got that email or that, I sent you that screenshot of what it said, that they, sent me a letter and stuff. So to let me know what extra information they needed. So I'm just waiting to get the letter. Oh, Did you did you see the thing that I sent you about that country star? I mean, he's gone now. He passed away years ago. But about that Charlie Pride, kiss an angel good morning. Did you see that I sent to you? On Messenger. I sent it to you on Messenger. Let me see here. Let me go into Messenger. I will see if you. Yeah, I sent it to you on. Um, yeah, it's a country families thing. It's called "Kiss an Angel Good Morning." It's a classic track recording from the black guy that sang it. His name is Charlie Pride. I mean, he's passed away now, but yeah, he passed away. I don't know how long ago, but yeah, he passed away and stuff. But I've always liked that song, even though it's country and western, country music. I've always liked it. That song, and I really like it now even more. It's called "Kiss an Angel Good Morning." So yeah, he passed away, a few years ago or whatever. I'm not sure exactly how long ago it was that he passed away, but yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, he had been in the country, he'd been in the country music, industry for many, many years. Yeah, yeah, that have passed away, like Johnny Cash. I love to listen to Johnny Cash sing. Um, there was a group that they had got together. It was like four country singers. It was called the Highway Men, and it had Willie Nelson in it, and I think Johnny Cash was in it, and a couple of other country singers um, that that were in it and stuff. I listen to country music now and then. I mean, I don't listen to it, you know, very, very, like my life would revolves around listening to country music only. I mean, I like the classic rock and roll and stuff, but I listen to country now and then. But but that song by Ronnie Millsap called "Kiss an Angel Good Morning," that I like that. I really liked it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Just that's what I'll be doing. I'll be kissing an angel good morning. Every day that I'm with you, I will be kissing you every single morning. Yep. And I want it not necessarily, you know, not limited to kissing you in the mornings, good morning, that I'll be kissing you at night. We'll be out walking or whatever, and I will be kissing you, and wherever I can, I'll be kissing you. Yep, everywhere, everywhere, absolutely. Yes, I will. Every part, and even there. Yep, I will. Hmm. there and there. Yep. Mhm. Yep. 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 Downstairs, front and back. Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. Yep. And there will be a, don't want to say it, but yeah, that's, yep. Well, well, let's put it this way. There's a number we both like that that represents a lot to both of us that we will be able to kiss during that time in our lives. Yep, we will, we will, we will. Uh huh. All the time. Hmm. Mm, what about your hair? Oh yeah, yeah. I understand. I totally understand that. Yeah, 'cause, hanging down and stuff. It just, yeah. Nope. No, it's okay to me. Yep. Okay. Oh, hon, that's only natural. Just let it go. Yeah. Oh yeah. Got it. Got it. Well, it's either going to come out there or somewhere else. Got to. Just a natural thing. Yep. So if you go to sleep now, yeah. So what? 7:30 now. 7:29. So 7:30 now. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, if you wake up at 3:30, you know, then it would be 8 hours from 7:30 on. But at 7:30, you won't be asleep at 7:30. You'll lay down to go to sleep at 7:30, but then you may not fall asleep until a quarter till 8, 8 o'clock before you actually fall asleep, sleep, and not wake up. So, and actually, if you're going, if you're going to lay down to go to sleep now, then I will go do my laundry and go get my plasma and stuff now. That way, I'll be home later on, like when you wake up around 3:30, 4 o'clock, whatever and stuff, which would be, in the afternoon here, but, that way I'd be home when you wake up later on. Yeah, yeah, we can talk. I want to continue our conversations about our time, the times when we're going to be together, what we're going to be doing, while we're together, you know, whether it's walking or running or jogging or sleeping or anything else, you know. Yeah, I want us to talk about everything, you know. Yeah, and and not, things from my past, your past, our futures, what we want to do later on, once when we are officially together, you know, you know, talk we I want to talk about everything. The past, the present, the future, you know, I want us to share everything with each other. Talk about, whatever we're comfortable talking about. I mean, I'd say that we're pretty much comfortable sharing everything with each other, whether it's the past, the present, or the future. You know, we have shared a lot. You know, even now we shared a lot of both of our past. My past with you, your past with me. And we've got the present that we talk about and what we want for each other in the future. I mean, we talk about everything, and I enjoy our conversations about everything. Yeah, and yeah, yeah, I know you're recording, and that's why I don't go into any kind of details about anything. And but you can always, if something is said that shouldn't be or whatever, you can always edit it. So, but it's nice if you can just post what you record without having to do any kind of editing. I mean, that's nice that you can do that and just post, whatever we're talking about. And as long as I know that you're are recording, I'll make sure, I'll be certain that I don't say something that I shouldn't. So, but I will let you go to sleep now, and like I said, I will go and do my laundry and go get my plasma. That way, I'll be home sometime. It probably won't be in by the time I get done with my laundry and plasma and get back home. It'll probably be after 12 o'clock, which will be midnight your time, but noon my time. So it'll be sometime after that, but you'll still be sound asleep. So hopefully you'll be sound asleep. You just never know. You may be up, yep, 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 just strolling away there. Who knows with you, hon? Sometimes you'll wake up and then you'll get on your phone and scroll for a while. Then you may go back to sleep, and then you may get up and I'm hungry. I gotta eat now. Then you'll go back to sleep, and you just, you're just everywhere. That's what I love about you. You're just, you're just, I love that. I love that dude. love that hairdo. uh, yeah. Uh-huh. See, the thing is that even though you're recording, the camera doesn't pick up a lot of what you're saying. They can hear me and everything I'm saying, but the camera doesn't really pick up every single word that you're saying and stuff. And what I'm seeing your hair and stuff. The camera can't see that. Now I could turn your camera on and record also, but I don't do that. I let you do the recording and stuff. So, but like I said, I've already answered when I got up, a little after 4 o'clock today, I answered my questions and stuff, that I have to answer for when I give plasma. So that way, I'll take my phone with me because I'll have to scan that QR code when I get up there because I've already answered all my questions for the day and stuff. So I'll just, when I go to do because I'll do my laundry before I go and get plasma, and I'll just I'll just sit there and while my laundry's, in the machines and stuff, I'll just sit there and play a game on my phone and stuff just to pass the time, until I get up there to get plasma. And when I get up there, I just put my phone in my pocket. I don't even almost everybody that's when they're given plasma, they'll be sitting there, they'll be, on their phone while the needle's stuck in their arm, they'll be on the phone and stuff, doing whatever. And I just put my phone in my pocket. I turn the sound, the ringtone and the notification. I mute everything and I put it in my pocket. I figure I'm not going to be distracted. I'm there to give plasma and then get out and go home and stuff. So everybody else, they're always on their phone doing whatever and stuff, and I don't do that. I just put mine in my pocket and say, oh well, you're beautiful. Even though that hair makes you look goofy and silly, you're still beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Starting your own trend, are you? Yeah, I guess. But okay, hon. Well, I'll let you go to sleep because it's 6:40 now, and so I think 7:40, 6:40. It's 7:40. Sorry about that. So I'll let you go to sleep, and I'll go do my laundry and go get my plasma. That way, I'll be home later on when you wake up and stuff like that. So, okay, hon. I will let you go, and let me get set up in my chair here. It'll be easier to say goodbye to you for for the for the time being. We'll be together again later on. But what's that supposed to be for? Okay. I don't know why you had to cover yourself up, but that's up to you. But okay, hon. Uh huh. Okay, hon. Yep, I understood every single word of that too. Okay, well, I don't know. Like a sumo wrestler. I'll let you go to sleep. So you sleep well and sweet dreams. And I will be here later on when you get up. 3, 4, whatever time in the afternoon. In the morning for you, but afternoon for me. But okay, hon. So I'll let you go to sleep now. I will. I'll be safe, hon. Sweet dreams to you too. So okay. So 1, 2, and 3. Camp, I cannot wait to kiss those lips in person. I'll give you the longest kiss ever. I'll just kiss you, kiss you, kiss you. Mm-hmm. Okay, hon, I'll let you go. So you go to sleep now. Try and stay off of your phone. Try and sleep. Okay, hon. Okay, sweetheart. I will talk to you later. So sweet dreams, and I love you, love you, love you. I love you so much. Forever, never, 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 and always. Mm. Okay. Bye bye for now, hon. Mm. Okay. Bye bye. Mm. Okay. Here goes. Okay. Uh, uh,